a sea of green. Doesn't anybody know what I mean? Moonlight glinting on the velvet sand as I kneel to the water to wash my hands.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Psychedelic here. 2022 is among us, and hope it's going well for you guys. I could probably say I probably have my top purchase of this year so far. It's definitely going to be topping out everything, so probably won't make another update till around, Christmas time. I'm just kidding. I actually got some cool things planned for this month. I thought maybe I'd get back into some film reviews. There's a couple films I'd like to probably discuss, shed some light on. And kind of in the works with that right now with one of these films. And then 2 weekends down the road this month, I will be interviewing some band members that were in this local band, this local Nebraska band. So I'll collect all the video footage and the interviews and try to make it nice and neat best I can. And I hope you guys enjoy that. That's kind of just a special episode I have coming up. And yeah, just got some vinyl finds here. Only got 4 LPs. And like I said, stick around to the very end. I mean it. Not really. I mean, it's already in the screenshot, so very, very happy to get this one. But I'm going to start out with these and get them in the order which I purchased them. Starting with this one. This is a band called Slave. It's with their album The Lover, The Madman, and The Poet. This is a reissue that came out last year. I can say last year now, 2021. And this is on a particular label that I was kind of interested in at first. Sealy's Court? No, it's Sealy Court. And this label's kind of, focuses on acetates or demo LPs that came out of the UK. Like the early 70s, late 60s. Stuff that never really got around at the time, sort of at the acetate stage. And this is kind of a very interesting record. Just by the samples online alone, I was really hooked by this one. It's reportedly only had 25 to maybe 50 copies ever spotted. It's just kind of an estimate of how many there might be out there. This is on a very small label. I think it was the D-Roy Recording Sound or something of that nature. Was the original label. It's got kind of a very lo-fi kind of quality about it. All the songs do kind of sound the same. I could see this being one of those records that, not everybody's going to fall in love with, for sure. It does kind of sound the same a lot of the time. It's got kind of this very haunting, kind of downer folk psych vibe about it. But most of the tracks are pretty upbeat, giving it kind of that pop edge to it. So, I would definitely check this out if you're into those lo-fi kind of, 99 pressed copies kind of records, like Forever Amber or Team Dawkins, stuff like that came out, and it fits very nicely in that realm. It's got male-female vocal harmonies, kind of these jingly guitar sounds, and there's some skeptical criticism of the label. I don't know, there's some things I heard that maybe they're not a legitimate label, but sound quality is fine for me, and and it's a mysterious band. Nobody knows who these band members were. There's really no info on them. There's just a little bit of details here listed. It's believed to come out in 1970, possibly recorded in Wales. And, it says file under Unsolved Mysteries for sure, so definitely a nice surprise. So if you guys love that kind of downer folk psych with a pop edge to it, even though the songs aren't very memorable at first, it kind of sinks in after a few spins, so it's worth investigating. Okay, and then on to my krautrock kick. So pretty much all last year I was very heavily into discovering a little more krautrock, German space rock, progressive rock, psych, amongst all that stuff. This is one of those particular albums that I've always heard good things about, always spotted it online, always thought it was like Johnny Cash's twin brother, who was all spaced out. But this is Sergius Golowin with the album Lord Krishna von Golaka. Features all these, kind of an all-star cast of people associated with the krautrock scene, like Klaus Schultz. Who are the other ones here? I can't recall exactly, the other band members where they originated from, but Klaus Schultz is a name, for sure a lot of people are familiar with. He does mostly percussion on here, but I think he has a hand in like some of the electronic noodling going about. This is a very meditative, sort of like folk-driven, but also spaced out krautrock excursion of the highest order for my taste, anyway. And this is one of those records I first listened to it like while I was laying in bed. Lights were out, just kind of sitting there, thinking like, where's this music taking me? And at first it's very calm, kind of progressive trip going on. And by the time you get to side 2, probably my favorite on here, it gets very mysterious, kind of haunting. There's like this kind of eerie mellotron in the background, all these warbled, electronics moving about. And the whole album itself just kind of evolves into this one big epic, cerebral mind trip of its own, It's a very practical sort of mushroom trip, if you had to like depict it within sound. This is a very good record for depicting of like a really spaced out trip. Sergius was like a, kind of the Swiss Timothy Leary, you could say. And he does like spoken word on here in German, so I don't speak German even though my family originates from there. And it's very good, very heady stuff. This is a reissue. This came out in 2013. Sounds pretty good, so glad to scoop that one up. And then speaking for other records like overseas, I never realized this, but pretty much everything here is not American, which is nice. I think that's a new trend going on with my videos, which I kind of like. But I spotted this one on eBay. I just never see the reissue even popping up, and I'm definitely not going to pay what the OG's going for. This is Psychedelic Sounds in Japan by the Mops. This is kind of infamous for being claimed as one of the first, Japanese psychedelic rock bands. And I think with, several Japanese releases, you're always going to expect maybe some filler tracks. A lot of these groups from the Eastern countries, not even Eastern, but even like, South American bands, seem to cover a lot of like Western culture tracks that really hit big at the time, like, Jefferson Airplane, which they do White Rabbit and Somebody to Love on here, as well as, tracks like The Letter, Inside Looking Out, the Animals track, which is probably my favorite cover on here. After a while, there is some hit and miss tracks on here, but for what it is, it's a very garagey, sort of raving garage psych mix on here. Nice psych effects going throughout, sort of in a West Coast flavor, you could say. But yeah, they certainly nailed the style down, so gotta give them credit for that. But no, it's still very solid. It's just too bad they couldn't do a few more original tracks, but I do understand that, a lot of groups were like that in this time period. I forget what year this came out, but this is might be an unofficial reissue. Sound quality is fantastic though. So, spotted it for cheap, under 20 bucks, so can't go wrong there. And then finally, this is the one I'm very stoked to share. So, this is a record I discovered early on. I want to say like 2015, because I remember posting it on my Instagram, and it goes back that far. I was kind of in a very heavy psych, acid rock sort of period at that point, and and last year especially, I was getting back into these heavy sounds, the krautrock, the UK hard rock scene, and this is just one of those records I returned to, and I was just like completely floored of like how great this was, just by the dynamic structure and just the overall sound of this record. Just completely blew me out of the water, and I managed to pick up an original German copy press of The Human Beast, Volume 1, on Decca label. Now, of course, the first presses on UK, the blue label, certainly do go for a little more desirable, obviously. Seems to go with like anything, German copy is always more accessible, it seems. And sound quality is great. I just got this today in the mail, and sound quality is fantastic. I was very pleased with the outcome of this. So I actually ordered this from like a record shop in Moscow, of all places. So I thought it would take a lot longer, but it took maybe about 2 weeks, which was nice. So, but anyways, The Human Beast made this one and only record, and I think they originated out of like Edinburgh, Scotland area, and they managed to kind of do this one. It almost feels like it was done in one evening. The way that there's no overdubbing. There might be overdubs on like one track, maybe. Might be maybe Someday, I think. But it's all recorded live in the studio, which makes it a little more dynamic in sound. You can hear little flaws here and there, but the songwriting may not be the strongest either. But these guys just rock out. And the thing I would love the most about this record is just the sound itself. The way the drums and the guitar, fuzz wah is mic'd up, along with that, very versatile bass thumping. It's just everything I want to hear in a power trio band. And I'm just so glad this found me this early in the, this year, because I was kind of, scouting out some copies. I was bidding on one on eBay, but it went over the grand mark, and I was just like, that ain't happening. But got this well under, kind of well under $1,000. Thankfully, made a lot of sales the last couple months to own this, and I paid just slightly a little more for this than Plastic Cloud, so this one does top, the most I ever spent on the record. Makes the top of that list. So starts out fantastic. Mystic Man, great opening track. I actually did a cover version of that song just for the fun of it. And Brush with the Midnight Butterfly might be my favorite track on here. The whole album kind of has like this cryptic theme going on, and I have no idea what's going on the cover art. It's kind of spooky though, whatever's going on. And it just, the whole aura about the studio production, it just has a very stoned vibe about it, which I really love too. So, and they also do, so the track Maybe Someday was actually a track by Incredible String Band. And so they kind of go from like, very heavy, upbeat, progressive hard rock to some of these more ascetic, sort of almost Eastern flavored, kind of midnight, moody jams with Maybe Someday and Appearance is Everything, Style is a Way of Living. Some fantastic tracks on here. There's not really one weak moment on here for my taste. So it also features a gentleman who does the clarinet on here, David McNiven. He was with Bread, Dreams, and Love. I think that's the band. So yeah, very, very satisfied to cross this one off. This hasn't even settled in yet as far as like me in possession of this one. So yours looking off to a great start. Pretty incredible. I own this, almost makes me feel like it's the only copy in Nebraska, honestly. So it's on the red Decca label, and it plays very quiet. He said there were several hairlines on there, but I asked for photos and you could barely see them. It's very, very crispy copy. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better copy. So that about does it, guys. So if I had to recommend one from this video, I mean, I recommend them all, but The Human Beast, if you haven't heard this, step up to this monster. This is a beastie album for sure. So check her out. Anyways, that about does it, guys. So like I said, gonna have an awesome special episode coming up with the local band, and I'm gonna, you know, kind of tweak it a little bit and just make it, you know, come out just finely tuned. So take care, and we shall see you soon.